Alright, so we're looking at a 2004 Neon. We're going to change front axles on it. Like I said, it's wobbling a little bit and making a clicking noise going around turns. These actually have, this is second or third time I've had to change the axles on this. This kid doesn't know how to drive, so he just dumps the clutch all the time and does all kinds of crazy stuff. So it's got lifetime axles from AutoZone in it, so we're going to go ahead and change them real quick. Probably lasts about 6 months again. He gets all these Hondas walking on him, putting buses on him, and he gets aggravated and just starts abusing the car real bad. So anyway, we'll go ahead and take both axles out, and then we're going to swap them out and put them in. So we'll do both sides today. All right, so once you get the wheels off, we're going to go ahead and take the brake caliper off and pin it out of the way. I'm going to go ahead and do both sides at one time. And if there's a difference between one side or the other, I'll let you know. I believe on the passenger side there's a carrier bracket we have to unbolt, but the driver's side is pretty straightforward. Both sides are the same as far as the brakes and the strut and the nut goes. So I'll just point out whatever differences there are. So we're not going to actually, I'm going to do both sides at one time, and then we'll concentrate on the driver's side until we get to that where we need to on the passenger side. So the first thing we'll do is take the caliper off and pin it off to the strut so it's out of the way, and then we'll start hitting the axle nut and the. All right, so you got a 12 millimeter on the caliper bracket. We're going to go ahead and take those out real quick. Hopefully you don't drop the ratchet. The reason we're taking these off is we're going to pull this knuckle forward to clear the axle. You don't want to put that much pressure on your brake hose. So just take them off and set them off to the side. Now I use these hooks here. Just put it in here and hook it onto the axle strut. And kind of move off to the side like this. So I'll probably just leave the brake pads on. They may fall off, but whatever, it's okay. So we've got a cotter pin here for this axle nut. We'll go ahead and remove that, and then we'll get the axle socket and take that off. And then we'll hit these strut mounts, the strut mount bolts. Alright, once you get the cotter pin out, 32 mil on the socket. Should spin right out. Make sure it pushes in. It does. So all we really got left the thing we got to be careful with on this is a speed sensor. We take off the strut bolts here and make sure we're not pulling too hard on the speed sensor. If we're not, then we're okay. If so, we might have to remove that, and that'll be it. So we'll get the tools for this, and then we'll. All right, so you got two 21 mil on both sides on these strut bolts. Got the caliper in the way a little bit. May have to put the nut back on there and tap on a little bit.
Here. That's underneath the car.
Don't just tap on the actual bolt. You'll bend the threads, and then you'll be looking for new bolts. Shouldn't take too much to get them out. Just like that. And then this should pull forward. Now we're going to watch the speed sensor and make sure that we're We're not putting too much pressure on that. That's my main concern. I'm going to slide this caliper out of the way again and then see where we're at. Alright, so right now there's not much tension on this sensor, so I think we're okay with that. Just got to keep an eye on it while I pull this out. And it's out now, and there's not very much tension at all, so we're okay with that. That's kind of like whatever you feel comfortable doing. I feel comfortable with it. There's hardly any tension on it, so I feel fine leaving it like this. Now we'll get a pickle fork to get under there and knock this axle out. I believe the passenger side has a carrier bearing in the middle with some bolts we have to take out, and the oil cooler is kind of in the way, so I'll get under there and do that one. Put a pan under the transmission. It will leak a little bit of fluid, not much. And we'll get these out and then we'll get going. Alright, so this is the driver's side, and all I'm going to do is put a pickle fork up here in between the axle and the transmission right here and just tap on it, and that'll come right out. Just get ready, you know, be ready for it to slide out. And then on the passenger side, we'll get to that. Alright, on the passenger side, we took the whole axle out. There's two 13mm bolts up here to go to the bracket. I can't remember if this comes with the axle I was on or not, so I just took it out. I'm going to go ahead and separate it here off the ground, and I'll do the same thing. I'll just put a pickle fork between there and just tap on it. It'll pop right out. So that's all there is to getting them out. And like I said, I'm not sure. I think this does not come with it, but I wanted to take it out just in case. So either way, it's out, it's ready. It's easy to put back in if it doesn't come with it. I think it's just this though that comes with it from AutoZone. And these are the lifetime axles. On if you have an SRT4, just get the lifetime axles from AutoZone, and that way when you twist them every year or so, you can just take them back. Alright, so we're back. We got the new axles. We'll go ahead and slide them in. When you put these in, you want to hold this part of the shaft real straight and guide it in until you can feel it lock in, and then you can tap it in. Don't just jam it in there because you'll ruin the seal, the oil seal that goes around here. It keeps the fluid from leaking. So guide it in straight, and then once you feel it lock in, kind of turn it, make sure it's locked in, and then go ahead and tap it in. You shouldn't have to tap it too hard. If you have to tap it too hard and it's not going in, then pull this back out and relock it in if something's not lined up right. So we'll go ahead and feed this in, and then start putting it back.
It's recording.
Alright, so when you tap that in, you'll kind of hear a different sound, like kind of a thunk noise. That's when it's bottomed out, and you'll feel it, and you can move it back and forth. You can hear the transmission moving back and forth. So now we're just going to feed it back into this steering knuckle. And you want to get the axle locked into this knuckle and get the nut started, and then we'll start putting it back together up here. You'll probably have to kind of do it both at the same time. Is it through a little bit?
Yeah.
Go ahead and put that nut on there. So just kind of start it, and then we'll go ahead and put these nuts back together up here, bolt and nuts. Alright, we got the strut line back up with the knuckle there. We're just going to go ahead and torque those down. It's 21mm on both sides. You shouldn't really have to hold it with the opening on the other end, but it's okay to do it just to kind of cover your bases. And it does help to put the air tool in the right direction. Otherwise, you just keep spinning it off and spinning it off forever. It'll never line up that way. This guy's still in technical school, so he struggles with it. He struggles with some of this stuff. They draw those bolts all the way in.
Yeah.
Give it a few more Alright, so that's pretty much it for that. Now we'll put the brake caliper back on. We'll unhook it from the strut there, and the brakes didn't fall off, so all we gotta do is just make sure they're seated and then put them back on. Put the 2 bolts in, 12 millimeter. Alright, so I was right. It does not come with an intermediate shaft, it just comes with this part. So there's no point in taking the other shaft out. You can just put your pickle fork right here and tap on it. So I've already got it back in the car. We're just going to slide this back in, tap it in, and then start putting it back together. Alright, so again, don't take out that intermediate shaft on the passenger side. You're just putting the half shaft in. Some of them come with that, some of them don't. This one does not come with it. So just disregard all that information, and we're just putting the axle back in like we did the other side. You're going to get this started, 180 foot-pound when it's done. We're going to put in the strut bolts, get those lined up, and then put the caliper on. It's pretty much done. So you've already seen the driver's side, so there's no point in showing this. It's all exactly the same. Pretty straightforward, simple. I do recommend, if you have an SRT4, to just get the AutoZone axles with the lifetime warranty, because these things eat up axles pretty regularly. A lot of times, you know, this guy, a pretty strong Honda scene here in St. Louis, and they tear him up regularly. So he gets really aggravated and just goes out and tears up his car. And you know, the Hondas just keep going past them and laughing and putting gaps on them. So anyway, that's just kind of a joke to my little nephew-in-law, Dylan, and his little rice burner, American rice burner here. So that's pretty much it for axles on a 2000, well, it'll be 03 to 05 Neon SRT4. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. That's about it. So thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next one. Have a nice day, and God bless.